On today's episode, we are talking about the NFL draft. So, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite picks for fantasy, but also some of our favorite picks for team building overall. Comment down below to tell us which pick was your favorite. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your co host, Josh, who sometimes shows up on this thing, along with my co hosts, Ryan and Ethan. Guys, we had to take a week, and if you've been following us, you know who we are fans of, and we had to take a week to dissect and react and basically digest all and process all this information from the NFL draft. But first, Ryan, Ethan, how are y'all doing?
Welcome back, Josh.
We
Thank you,
made it
thank
through
you.
the draft.
Yeah, some of us made it
Yeah.
through better than others. We
Yeah,
did make it through the draft.
all right, Ryan, should we just let's just do it, right?
Are we
Let's
are we
just
gonna kick off? Are we gonna kick off with
Okay, okay.
pick number
I
eight?
want to kick off with it.
Okay.
But Ryan,
All right.
what are you gonna say?
All right. You want to
Oh,
know
see,
how I'm doing?
I was gonna say the much touted Vikings quarterback has been acquired. So
What are you
hopefully
talking about? White Jesus?
we
Are
have
you
our
talking about
savior.
Starstruck in the
Yes.
stadium?
It's
We have
Thor.
Kirk Cousins 2.0, the better version, hopefully.
Oh,
That's that's bold.
I think just
For
respectively,
anyone confused, he's talking about JJ McCarthy.
yeah, but I think I
Uh
know we'll have to go
I
through each
am
of our picks.
No, but for real, I'm hesitant to believe in him, but I was also hesitant to believe in Kirk Cousins when he first got there. I'm gonna give him a little time before I put down judgment on him. So we'll see how this year goes,
But speaking of
but I'm
judgment,
reserved.
let's talk about two picks before JJ McCarthy. We have a resident Falcons fan on this pod.
An emotional hostage.
Yeah. And Ethan, I think I think in times like these, you just need to let it all out. So tell us what was going through your head and what was happening as you read and saw and heard Michael Penix to the Falcons.
So before I get on top of my white horse and go until I bleed out, I'm gonna start with the good. Okay. So the good of the Penix is there's a chance we lose a pick next year, and if we're unsure about Kirk and his future and his health, drafting a QB makes sense. Okay. And on the other hand, there's a lot of people trying to trade up with the Giants, with Tennessee, and basically jump the Falcons because they wanted Penix Jr. Okay, so that's on the table. Set that shit aside. Okay, now we're going to talk about Michael Penix Jr. All right, I don't understand why we paid $180 million for a quarterback. Right now, granted, he's got the leg thing. Whatever, he should be able to come back. If Aaron Rodgers can take freaking ayahuasca and recover from it, I'm sure that Kirk Cousins can pray about it to his youth pastor, whatever, and get over his leg injury, okay? But why are we drafting a quarterback when we're in a win now? We've spent 3 first-round picks on great offensive talent for 3 years. Everything is loaded up. The NFC South is buns, okay? You're telling me that we can't draft somebody else other than Michael Penix to beat freaking Derek Carr, who's the third bum of his entire family, if you don't know his father and brother. Okay. You've got Baker Mayfield that is more worried about dancing for TikTok than playing football. But yeah, I mean, I guess he threw for 4,000 yards. He's still ass. Okay. And then you've got Carolina, who has a midget at quarterback. So we're finally set up to beat the freaking loser division. And we need defensive help, which granted, they spent the rest of the draft getting defensive guys, except for a corner. And I don't know if I'm brain dead, but there was plenty of corners available at pick number 8. Would have been a little bit of a reach, but it would have been less of a reach than Michael Penix Jr. when you just paid $180 million for a quarterback. So, yeah, It would have been a reach. People would have been upset. Maybe they grade it as like a C, and then it works out because for whatever reason, corners in Atlanta just seem to work out when they're not supposed to. But it's better than getting a quarterback that we don't need. We need defensive help to make a championship run. And you're saying, you know what? I like that QB2. Give me a quarterback two for, I don't know what they're going to pay him, like $9 million a season for 2 to 4 years. And then the whole contract is going to be weird because when they go to negotiate, it's going to be like what the Packers are dealing with Jordan Love right now of maybe it's our guy, maybe it's not. And then if he puts up that performance, well, that was his last year on the deal, and he's going to want a big contract. And we wasted all of these years of his rookie deal. So if the plan is, all right, we're going to have 2 years of Kirk, and then Kirk's going to go, to whatever church he's freaking working at and be a youth pastor, not a QB in the NFL anymore. Okay, I guess I can kind of see that. But other than that, I don't understand why him over Dallas Turner makes sense. I don't understand why him over Romer Dunes makes sense. I don't understand why him over like a corner like Quinyon Mitchell makes sense, or even Terrion Arnold makes sense. It just none of it makes sense to me. And the Falcons are holding all of us hostage, and we're not well, and we need help. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It was genuinely horrible. Genuinely.
Yeah, the comments after by GM Terry Fontenot also confuses
Horrible.
me as well. Where it's like,
Horrible.
oh yeah, he could sit the next 4 to 5 years, he'll be good to go. So now my issue is that okay,
You don't.
he's going to be 28, 29. So are you banking on a really cheap second contract because his prime's up? Then in that case, is it just a wasted? It's a wasted pick
Yeah,
essentially
you don't. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't draft your backup quarterback
at 8.
at
That's
8.
my
Like I don't know what he was thinking. If he's thinking like, hey, he's gonna sit for 4 or 5 years, that's
Well, and that
ridiculous to
makes me
draft your
think
backup
that's
quarterback
not
at
the
number
case. That
8.
makes me feel like he's going to sit 2 years, and they want to cut Kirk after 2 years,
Yeah.
even if
so
he's like.
That's what
so
I think
here's
that's what everybody has been speculating this last
so here's
week
my
is
issue.
that's their plan.
Here's my issue. Why are you giving Kirk $100 million guaranteed for 2 years?
Well, to
That's so
babysit Penix.
yeah. So here,
That's what it is.
I I'm going to be honest with you. It's taken me a week to figure everything out, and I still don't have it figured out. Because it's like, okay, the tampering thing, two wrongs don't make a right here. If it's for the tampering issue. And plus, everyone says 2025 is not as good, blah blah blah. There's at least 4 really good options at quarterback. And you can
Yeah.
leverage if you were to trade down, you can get future assets. So it'll be okay. Because there were people that wanted to trade up for Penix and would have started him right now.
So many.
Yep.
Yeah, and then on top of that, here's my issue. Why was Atlanta not all in on Penix from the get-go? And to me, this just goes back to poor asset management from Terry Fontenot to the point where I want to actually give an apology to Arthur Smith. Because now the issue is it's like, man, I mean, Ethan, you said it right. Warner would have been nice. I would also love to upgrade the worst pass rush in the league right now. And
Yeah.
on top,
Well, that's
and on
been
top,
that way for half a decade.
yeah. And then on top of that, my other issue is that my issue is just what makes you think you have this kind of job security to make a move like this? Because the thing is, you've been 7-10, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10 with pick eight, pick eight, pick eight, pick eight. For like this is like the 3rd year in a row, and
Yep,
before then
they're
it was the pick the fourth. It was the fourth pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's just like you don't have Arthur Smith to hide behind.
Yeah. Oh,
And
so
take
that's
the
what I was
hits.
gonna say. Is this is his make it or break it? Like, you better be
Yeah.
dead set that Kirk Cousins and all these dudes you just took on D line are gonna get you to the playoffs. Because if not, your ass is hitting the door.
Yeah.
And I
That's
would
just how
even
it is.
I
It's
would
a
even
gamble.
argue. if you even if they win the division at 9-8, I don't think that gets it done. Because the
No,
thing is, there's
you're talking
nothing
about double-digit wins this year,
at
or
the
he'll be hitting the door.
minimum 11, to be honest with you. The
Yeah.
minimum has to be 11.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that you've just handcuffed your franchise, and on top of that, it was established starters. All right, so like the people saying, "Oh, it's a great idea," like with bringing in Kirk Cousins and the backup. It's just like Green Bay. No, it's not. Because
Yeah.
one, when they did it with Aaron Rodgers was 21. Brett Favre was already there for 10 plus years. Let's start off with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Number two, when they did it with Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers started since '07. That was 2020. So about 13, 14 years as a starter. That and on top of that, both Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, late first round picks. What Atlanta does here to kind of overcorrect the quarterback position
Hmm.
is to not only pay Kirk Cousins 4 years, 180 mil, 100 mil guaranteed. So basically 2 years, 50 mil just to start off. To then go take and use the number 8 pick instead of winning now, where your team has not shown the ability. I don't care if Desmond Ritter was or Taylor Heineke was at least competent. The roster's not good enough. Like
Hmm.
if the problem is if you're just trying to get to win the division because of the division so weak right now, that's complacency. So what's the point? Like, what's the point if
Yeah.
it's going to mean a first round exit when a wild card team from the East, say if it's Philly, say if it's Dallas, and they just go ahead and steamroll you on their way to the division round? What's the point?
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about like our corners right now are Abernathy, AJ Terrell, Clark Phillips, and Mike Hughes. And I mean, they've shown things at times, but they really needed an upgrade
But
there.
it's also
Yeah.
handcuffing your defensive led head coach.
Yeah.
And so I have
Yeah.
that
You're
Well,
not
issue.
doing him any favors
he
by
basically
doing
said,
that.
"Screw you, make it happen, dude.
Yeah,
Like I'm
but
gonna do whatever I think or whatever I feel like I want to do, and I don't care that it handcuffs the team. I don't care that it hurts our future. Like you need to figure it out, and you need to make these pieces work. And if you can't do it, why did I hire you?" And that is so bold of him to say, given the mediocrity that the team has been for 3 years.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I just think about how Zach Robinson's a first year OC too. And you're
Yep.
just literally go, oh, by the way, the most important position, boom, controversy, like just right out of the gate. And it's just
Yeah.
like you're not setting anyone up for success here. Now, I personally, I had Penix like pre-fit anything before our rankings. He was my like QB3, like without a doubt. So I am confident in Michael Penix the player. It's this is a clear issue, or this is a clear example of I love the player, I hate the fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the fit, the situation he's in.
Yeah, I would the situation because
Because the situation, a lot of times with these drafts, like you get a very skilled, very talented, very athletic player, but he doesn't get the chance to show that because there's other people better than him on the roster that will leapfrog him in the depth chart. So he doesn't really get a chance to shine or get that play time, that real NFL game reps, and it makes him struggle and stunt sometimes developmentally. So
yeah,
I get
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
literally Penix is the perfect quarterback to go, you know what? He's a rookie quarterback. He's had a lot of college experience. He's 24. It's just we're just gonna hit the gas. We're just gonna just start going. And to try and make him wait for 2 years when you already have Kirk looking over his shoulder, and it's just like,
Well,
Could be bad.
what are we
Could be
doing
a problem.
here?
and the fact that Penix isn't young coming into the
Yeah,
draft
he's
or coming into the
24.
NFL. He's 24. He's not 21, he's he's not fresh. He has been playing for many years, albeit not in the NFL, but he has been playing for many years. So, and he does have that injury history, which is also an issue. But I like the pick. but just not with the addition of Kirk Cousins that they had in the
Yeah.
offseason.
So what's the
So
Well, and
biggest? So
that's what I'm
what's
saying too. Why pay him at
standalone,
all
okay?
if you
yeah,
want to draft Penix?
And
yeah.
Use that
here.
money somewhere else.
So that's the so here's the issue. So again, I'm going to use the word issue a lot regarding this. So you're asking why pick Kirk Cousins if you knew you're going to draft Penix? So here's the other problem. Why on earth were you not all in on Penix when you definitely had time on your hands? You didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So why how did you not come to that decision faster, I
Well,
guess?
you know, I mean, running through it in my head, it could have gone one of two ways. Like the first way, they could have gone all in with uh, Kirk Cousins, not expecting to get Penix at uh, at 8 where they got him. So when he dropped down, because they probably expected a lot of teams to move up and pick him up earlier. I mean, because there's a lot of QB hungry teams there was in the draft. They probably expected people to move up to get him. So when he dropped down to them, they could have un unexpectedly been in that situation. So they went in with Cousins all in the offseason. And then when he dropped to them at 8, they picked him up. Or like it was those two
Right.
decisions. The second situation, it was all their plan, which I don't even understand that plan, picking up Kirk and then intentionally drafting Penix.
Yeah,
So it could have been those two situations where it was two decisions, or it was just, hey, we have this opportunity. So
like
I don't know.
why go through tampering if you
Yeah,
were just going to draft his replacement anyway?
yeah. I think the Falcons really, pardon my French, effed up in doing this. Like
I
they did
agree.
not set themselves
I
up
don't know,
into
dude. I want to talk about
a
good.
good position.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
over it.
You're
I don't
done
want
you're
to.
done with the
So
negative. You're done with the
yeah, we
negative.
have
Yeah.
moved on to round one. So
Bro, can I
each of
just tell
us,
you how much I don't like Caleb Williams or believe in him? Can we
okay,
just start
okay,
with
okay,
that?
hold on. We're
All
gonna
right.
we're gonna go through. I'm gonna tell them what we're doing. All right, so we're gonna be going through the draft. We're gonna have four sections. One section, it's round one, obviously, round two, round three, and then the fourth section is rounds 4 through 7. And we have three people for each section. So each round we're going to have four people, except for 4 through 7. So who wants to start it off?
I
Josh, go ahead.
mean, I'll start off with this because it's in direct contradiction to what Ethan just said. I am very high on Caleb Williams. And I will say I think he is entering the best situation you can ever ask for a number one overall pick. And I don't so here's the thing. If you're asking for sky high expectations, I think you're in the wrong there. But I do think my prediction for Caleb Williams and the Bears is that by the end of the season, you go, Caleb Williams is the guy, no matter what happens there. I mean, I like the O-line situation. Could they have done a little bit better? Maybe. But for me, I think Caleb Williams is the upgrade. But I love the Keenan Allen trade, drafting Romo Dunze on top of that. So you have a really good three receiver trio. You have Cole Kmet, Robert Tunyon at tight end, and then you have Swift, Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert as well. So they have the depth and pieces there, and then they also drafted Kieran. I know we're not talking about round three yet, but Kieran Amageji, Amaged. I'm still figuring out the last name there, but they have some O line help there. I think the defense is very solid to where all the pressure doesn't have to be on Caleb. And I think a lot of the issues you saw with Caleb, I attribute more to Lincoln Riley than him. So
Yeah,
that's and what I mean by that is I think the style of how Lincoln Riley wants his teams, I think puts too much pressure on quarterbacks. But that's personally my opinion. But overall, I'm gonna bring him up. it's a very easy slam dunk option for me. I think fantasy wise, I would expect Caleb Williams to be no higher than 12. He is going to make some mistakes, but I think by the end of it, there's going to be enough plays where you go, that's the guy.
No.
I
Just
I have a similar, but I'm kind of in between you two. So I think there's issues off field that the Bears
bro,
should be
he's
worried
no
about.
one's gonna want to follow him. That
I
guy's a
don't
loser. His personality's a mess. Go ahead,
see,
Ryan.
Look,
yeah,
look.
and it's no. Hold on.
uh,
It's the personality and his family circle I'm kind of struggling with. I've
It's like
heard bad things
Ryan,
about his
Ryan, Ryan.
dad
It's like
being like,
this. Let me give a scenario, okay? Imagine if Patrick Mahomes, right, instead was his brother, okay? And it's his brother's personality that's in the NFL instead of Patrick Mahomes. That's Caleb Williams. If you put Patrick Mahomes and
see,
that's
Jackson Mahomes
okay.
together
No,
and made
I
one
think
loser
that's
freak
an
of a human
extreme.
being,
that's an
it's Caleb
extreme.
Williams.
That's an
That's a big extreme,
extreme.
Ethan. But what I'm
That's
what
what I
I'm
said.
talking about is there's a lot of off-field issues that I think if he doesn't get a handle on, it might turn into an issue. Um, just yeah, there's things. So on field though, I think he's a great player, super talented, like they've all been touting all year. He's generational in his talent, and
And so was Bryce Young.
yeah, I know. But also Bryce Young didn't end up in a good situation there in Carolina.
Yeah,
So
we
we'll
were.
see where he goes. But I agree with Josh in he has a tremendous amount of talent surrounding him, and he has a great opportunity where he is. If he cannot thrive this year with all of that talent around him, then we
Right.
should be worried.
Yeah,
Then we should be really worried. So if we don't see that, that's when you hit the panic button. So
yeah.
that's my view on Caleb.
And I'll say this, and I'll credit because this really came to a head, and Brett Coleman talked about this on which I forgot which video it is, but he basically said he asked players who played with Caleb at Oklahoma and USC, and they said they all loved him as a teammate. So if your own teammates are saying that, I'm not going to get too worried about it. And I think as far as like fantasy is concerned, at least for this year, that man's been he's been training with what's his name? I think it's Rich Scangarello, which I mean I have my own opinions on him as far as scheme and whatnot, but like he he's been preparing for this, and obviously the off field stuff could be an issue. I mean, and that's with every player, but is it going to dissuade me from making him a first round pick in the fantasy draft? As far as the rookie draft, no, not at all.
Hey, draft him and feel bad about it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
I got
timestamp it on this day. That might have to be a we might have to do a hot take episode this year.
Yeah, draft him and
there you go.
regret it later, like I did with Quentin Johnston. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, problem is
And
Quentin
Bryce
Johnson
Young.
forgot it too.
and Bryce
Uh,
Young.
yeah. So
So go ahead, Josh. Put me down for the hot take. I'm a Caleb Williams hater. I
All
am
yeah,
going
right,
to say
let's
a
do
Caleb
it.
Williams hater.
All
While
right.
you're doing that,
So
Brian, you want to talk about yours?
yeah, so I was gonna say my pick is the very next pick,
Yeah, Jaden
Jaden
Daniels,
Daniels.
my man.
I think he's in a decent situation there. He's got a good amount of talent around him. Not as much as Caleb Williams.
No,
He's
but we
put
like
into a
Scary
good
Terry and
situation.
Jahan. We
Yeah,
like
we
Scary.
like Scary Terry and Jahan. The only concern that I have, and this has been addressed in the offseason and with the draft, but we'll see how well it's been addressed because they had one of the worst O lines last year, and
ooh,
They had Sam Howell running for his life every play. So they had a bunch of additions at OT. One of them we'll talk about later because he's my third round pick. But they had a bunch of additions at OT or at the O line across the board. So I I think he's going to do very well next year. I really think he does, especially with his legs. Like with Jaden Daniels, he's all about speed, speed, speed. He will get out of that pocket and he will kill people on that field. He's
Yeah.
breaking ankles. So I think he's going to be a fantastic fantasy asset. I think Jaden Daniels should go before Caleb Williams
Ooh, I don't hate that, to be honest with you.
because of his running ability
Yeah,
and the way that the O line is. He's going to be scrambling a lot.
yeah. You know what? I
So
don't hate that. My
Lots-
only fear with Jane Daniels is durability, especially because he's taken some really, for lack of a better word, goofy hits,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and so to where it's like he needs to go to the Lamar school of not taking a nasty hit.
yeah,
But once he figures that out,
Hosted by
and he,
Josh Allen, who fails to show up.
yeah,
yeah,
literally,
and
Josh Allen just remembers he's 260 pounds that could just run over people.
Yep.
yeah, and one of the other issues that I don't see as a problem, I see as a potential concern. Um, he had tremendous development over this last year. Was that true development or was that him getting into a groove through the season? And is that
Over.
going to be a rise and fall type of situation?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
does
a very
he
legitimate
did he
question.
just have a fantastic year and then whoa, he comes right back down? Or is this the kind of development that you're going to see into his first NFL season? If so, I think Jaden Daniels could be the top of this class when it comes to quarterbacks. So,
I like that pick a lot from you. That
yeah.
I think you've made a very good case for Jane Daniels, especially being the first QB off of the board. Ethan,
Fantasy wise.
yeah, fantasy
I'm going to
wise,
talk about
Yeah.
the real pick 101 for your upcoming fantasy football draft, if you're in Dynasty. But that's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr.
yep. I am happy you brought him
I
up.
mean, there's really not much to say about him. He's just he's just a dude. He's just an absolute stud. He's going into a good situation. Kyler Murray's finally healthy and showed some stuff towards the end of last year. Who knows if the Arizona Cardinals as an organization are going to get it together? But in terms of Marvin Harrison Jr., I wouldn't be worried about him. Kyler Murray's been waiting for a dude like this since D Hop left. It's just a great situation overall.
I mean, as
Yeah.
far as since the podcast has started, Ethan, is he the best receiver you've scouted?
Yeah, dude, there's no question.
Yeah, because I would even say that he might be a tad bit ahead of Jamar Chase for me as far as in that regard, but like he is
Yes,
literally
Yeah.
on a pedestal of his own.
yes, he's his own
Yeah.
class.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean Marvin Harrison should be the 101 in rookie drafts. And if
Yes,
he's not,
Yeah.
you should just ban your entire league.
then put away your crack pipe.
Yeah, but no, I mean I agree with you. I think he's the perfect receiver for Kyler Murray as well, where he can just go,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh yeah,
I need to get this ball out of here, and then I can just literally throw it to
yeah.
Marvin
I can
Harrison.
just put it in the air, and Marvin's gonna go get it.
Yeah.
Like the jump ball ability is what impressed me so much, especially because this past year he didn't really have a lot of like to me he didn't really have a lot of plays that show breakaway speed, but I know he has it.
Yeah,
But I know if you're going to put him next to like an NFL receiver, like I mean Michael Wilson
Yeah.
showed out last year at times.
yeah.
So I know that if all right, if Michael Wilson's your two, Marvin Harrison's your one, and then
And
you
they got
have
rid of Rondale.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like I really do believe that like he's going to produce. And I think as long as there's no injury issues,
Yeah.
he should be a top receiver for years to come.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I really do. He's a great route runner. He does really well with contested catches. I think he has NFL potential, obviously, written all over him. And
And
he's a legacy. He's a
while we're
Yeah.
still
legacy.
talking
Like,
about wide receivers,
Okay.
I just want to go into my next one if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's snake
Yeah,
it. Let's
let's
go
do
for
it.
it.
Rome. Give me Rome. All
Yeah,
right.
dude.
He's named
Yeah.
after the Roman Empire. We're all men. We all think about the Roman Empire, and he's going to be great in the NFL. I love Rome Odunze. He, his personality, what he does on the field, his route tree, his route running ability, his hands, like he is just consistent.
And you could.
And it's not like a personality thing that makes him so good, more of like how I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is, because I think Marvin Harrison is just a dog, but Rome is just like this. You can get me the ball, and like I'm gonna be there for you, kind of guy, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that
I
out of a
mean,
lot.
literally Washington's offense. Oh, Rome's 1-on-1.
Yeah,
Go
I'm just
get
gonna go ahead
him.
and trust him with this one. Yeah,
Yeah, and think about it. Like that's going to be most of the opportunities he gets this year.
yeah.
Because are you really going to put DJ Moore on the island? Are you really going to put Keenan Allen on an island?
There's
No,
Yeah.
no
you're going to take it. You're going to take a chance that Roma Duze can't beat you 1-on-1. And I think that there's anything that he showed last year, it's
it's
I
that he
am
can.
winning 1-on-1.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
so
but
I
just
mean,
fantasy wise, with
yeah.
those people on the roster, it's gonna be hard to see him get good reps in order to be fantasy
He
relevant.
he would
okay,
have been higher on my list if Rome had gone to either the Chargers or the Falcons.
Yeah.
yeah,
But with being on the Bears, like as much as I
you're
love Rome Odunze and would want him on my fantasy team, I see him as more of like a late second round for dynasty or like third round dynasty pick for redraft.
I would
You're
say
yeah.
talking about like a
third.
14th
You guys really
round
think
pick,
third? Because
Yeah,
15th.
I
because
think
the only
third.
I mean I see second for sure. I don't
I
I
could see
think
late second. You could
yeah.
convince me that him and Caleb, oh, they're rookies. That rookie connection usually happens because the rookies are there for a week before everybody else and live together and do
Yeah.
everything together and get tortured together by the vets. So I could see it happening that he could be somewhat fantasy relevant just for that reason alone. But bro, you're talking about Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. I mean, if anything, I think
Yeah.
DJ Moore is going to take more of a hit because Keenan
Yeah.
Allen's going to be solid.
I mean Keenan Allen's just gonna have the intermediate on lockdown. And then
Yeah.
it's all right, what
I
do
don't
you
know.
do about DJ
That
Moore?
offense is going to be weird this year.
Yeah,
Very
so
weird.
if it was yeah, it's I think it's the OC is the biggest question for me about that offense. And I'll even say that for Caleb as well. It's Shane Waldron. So I'm really curious to see, all
We'll
right,
find out.
are we just going to be 12 personnel running the ball the entire time? Or are we going to go, you know what? To hell
Now
with
that
it.
we
We're
have
just gonna,
these three great wide receivers and
yeah.
two great tight ends, we're going to run the football. That'd be the
Oh,
most
and
Chicago Bears things ever, though. That would
yeah,
literally be the most Chicago Bears thing that they could do.
that really would. I mean, since we're snaking it, Ryan, what's your next first round draft pick?
He hails from the state of Texas.
You.
Xavier Worthy.
Oh, no, that's actually solid. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's
I
actually
think
really
it's a
solid.
great
Sorry
pickup.
about that.
I think it's a great pickup by the Chiefs.
Who were you
Uh,
thinking of, E?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Who were you thinking of?
I don't know, man. I was just giving
No.
you crap
You just said ill just cuz.
just because it was Ryan.
Oh my
I thought it
God.
was gonna
Just
be a
because
bad
it's
take
me.
because it usually
No.
is.
Yeah.
So Xavier Worthy, I think he's a great pickup. I think he's going to be able to stretch the field for Pat Mahomes, allow him to throw the deep ball downfield, and he's got plenty of talent to back it up. And there's not much talent on in the Chiefs receiving for right
Yeah, now
now.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
Rashid's gonna be
So
since we
yeah,
last
gonna
talked
be
so
about,
riding the bench.
I
yeah,
think I think he's speedy. He's a good deep threat. I think he's going to be a great asset for Mahomes and this Chiefs offense.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, Xavier Worthy, we're talking about. I mean, he has to be a first round rookie pick, right?
Yep,
yeah, yes,
absolutely.
yeah,
Mid to late first round.
for sure.
I see
Somewhere
it. I
around
see
pick
it.
5, I'd say.
Because he's
Wow, that high.
one of the
Okay.
very few rookie wide receivers that have a very good chance of
Dude, he's playing with
starting and
Patrick
making a
Mahomes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
starting and making a
Look,
huge
That's the
impact day
when
one.
you're
here's
when
what I
you're
will
talking
say.
about the
So
rookie. Hang on, when you're talking about the rookie fantasy draft for dynasty, and you're making a bet, you want to know who has a good chance to figure out. You look at the fit, who'd they go to. So, like for example, when Najee got drafted to the Steelers and they love running the football, yeah, you knew that was going to be a solid draft pick, and you wanted Najee on your team. Then you should have sold him after that rookie year, but we won't go into that. But when you get somebody, specifically a wide receiver, paired up with Patrick Mahomes, you're talking about who has the best bet of working out as a rookie on your dynasty draft. Yeah, your safest bet is Xavier Worthy, and you can take your stabs at Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Romo Dunes, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix,
Brian
Brock
Thomas
Bowers, and
Jr.
maybe it works out.
yeah,
Maybe it works out, but none of those dudes are playing with Patrick Mahomes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
yep.
That's probably the
So
best
yeah,
argument with it. I mean,
yeah,
obviously Rashi's
And the QBs, you don't know
yeah.
if they're going to adapt to the NFL. You don't know what their talent is. Like Jaden Daniels, he might not mesh with those wide receivers. Drake May doesn't have wide receivers, but Caleb Williams sucks, and I hate him. But that's not the point. The point is Xavier
Jeez.
Worthy has Patrick Mahomes, and I'm taking that bet. I don't know, eight
yep,
times out of 10, I'm taking that bet.
Yeah,
yep.
I like that. Um, I'll take another bet here. The person I'm going to bring up next is going to help out Rashad White a lot. So my next pick is actually Graham Barton. He's the technically a tackle, but he was going to be moved to guard. But it looks like the Bucks want him at center, which makes sense because Ryan Jensen retired. Um, but this can only be good things for Rashad White. And
All right.
I'm very wary of Rashad White having a repeat of this year. But if you're going to invest into the O line in the very beginning and a dude who's really good like Graham Barton, like who really could have gone like mid first to late first, yeah, to me this is a slam dunk pick for the Bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good pick. It solidifies a hole in the O line, or plugs up the hole in the O line. So I think that's a great pick for
Yeah.
them. So,
Yeah, so all right, I'll bring up the last one. I have the other Xavier Leggett or
Bro,
Leggett.
that
I'm
guy's
not
the
sure.
MVP
Dude,
of
all right,
the
first
entire.
off, I'm not gonna lie to you. He's been a my guy for so long,
I love
but the
him.
only reason why is because this dude is a like he's what a 220, 230 pound receiver who
Hmm.
was separating from SEC defenses last year. Like, sign me up. And then he goes to Carolina, which again with Bryce Young, with Dave Canales,
Hmm.
um, but he's going to be behind Adam Thielen. And I love for the fact that like probably the worst part of Xavier Leggett's game, in my opinion, was the route running. So pairing him up to learn from someone like
One of the
Adam
best.
Thielen,
one of the
yeah, one of the
best route
best,
runners in the NFL.
exactly.
Jesus.
Mhm.
And then let the athleticism take over as long as he stays healthy. Like to me, that's an incredible pick.
Yeah, I really liked
Yeah, and they're
it as well.
starved for good talent on that roster, so it's really good pick. So,
I'm not gonna lie.
my
Xavier Worthy was my third. So yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
perfect. So,
oh okay,
Ryan, who's your third?
my pick, my last one, Malik Neighbors. He is
That's gonna be
going to
interesting.
be it's
It's
yeah, he's
interesting.
going to be literally the only wide receiver on the Giants roster that's going to be worth a dang this year for fantasy. I think he has the potential to be. I think for me, I don't see a whole lot going on that roster other than Darren Waller. They've got Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Isaiah McKenna. So it may be a little crowded, but I think Neighbors with his talent and everything that he's got, I really do think he's going to make an impact on that Giants roster.
Yeah.
So
He
Yeah.
eats up cushion and zones and leverage so fast. Like it was like comical at some points where it goes like DB would have like an 8, 9 yard like cushion and then boom, done. Ate up. And then we're
yeah,
doing slot fades all day. I'm nervous about this pick though. I'm really nervous about Neighbors, and he's the one who, for so long, I had as my wide receiver two, and then I eventually switched it to wide receiver three, largely because I do think how defenses are playing are scheming right now for the game for offenses. It does him a massive detriment because you're not going to see a lot of man. You're going to see a lot of quarters. You're going to see a lot of two, maybe three. And if that's the case, like if you're always going to have someone over top, that's really going to hamper on Neighbor's best trait, which is I can get away from you and I will outrun you. And I do think potentially if there's any receiver who was drafted in the first round and has some weird issue just trying to like get used to the game, to me, Neighbors is going to be that guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, I believe that is the first round. So let's go on to round two. And Ethan, let's start with you. Who are some of your favorites in round two?
I'm just gonna list them to you and we can talk about them.
Yeah.
Big Keon Coleman fan up in Buffalo.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna do a good job replacing Gabe Davis and
Oh, we just lost him.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So Ryan, let's start off with you. Who are your second round picks?
Okay, so my second round pick, one of mine is Cooper DeJean. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's
Yep,
DeJean or
DeJean.
Dijon. DeJean. Okay. All
Grey
right. I
Poupon
just think he's a
himself.
yeah, the great poupon. Yeah. So um great athlete, has experience with uh strong safety and cornerback. So that translates very well into the NFL and being able to read. So I just think he's dangerous. Paired up with CJ Gardner Johnson and Quentin Mitchell, I think he's gonna be good. Um, he might be, subbed in and out, but I really think that little trio that they got is gonna be fantastic this year.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
sorry, I
a
don't know why it
Just
booted me
his,
out.
yeah, I was gonna say it kicked you out
yeah,
there for a second, E.
yeah, we lost you.
All right,
So we
so
were
we
just
had
talking about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, Cooper Ryan's
Coop.
first pick for the second round was Cooper DeJean. Ethan, yours was Coleman.
Mhm.
Explain Keon Coleman.
I mean, I he's just what's the way to pay? I think Josh Allen is going to like having a big physical wide receiver. I liked what he did at Florida State with Jordan Travis. I don't know, call it a hunch, but I think he's going to do well in the NFL with Josh Allen.
I'm scared about Keon Coleman
Okay.
because
How so?
I mean he just hasn't had enough reps personally. He just needs to just play more. So that's where I guess the opportunity is going to be there. But if you're expecting him to be an impact producer from day one, to me that's not Keon Coleman. And I'm concerned if those are the expectations placed upon him because I think he still needs a lot of work on as far as technique is concerned.
Mhm.
And if Buffalo drafted Keon Coleman with Diggs still there, I think that would have been fantastic. Because then it goes, okay, the pressure of being a number one's not on him. But now when you're the
Yeah,
33rd
he's
pick in
big
the
fumble.
draft, yeah, it's like you have to be prepared for it. And your wide receiver two is Curtis Samuel, which I'm pretty sure
We
Curtis
love
Samuel is
that.
not the wide
What's
receiver
wrong with
one.
Curtis Samuel?
Nothing wrong with Curtis Samuel. He's just not Diggs. And so that's where it's if you're expecting him to be an impact producer, that's my concern. Now, personally, I do think this is a sign where they are done with 11 personnel. I think they're going straight 12 personnel this
Oh yeah,
season.
they're going to throw the ball to good old fashioned James Cook back there.
Yeah, they have James Cook, Kincaid, Dawson Knox. I think tight ends are going
Yeah.
to get used more. I just think, as far as a fantasy perspective, Keon Cole, that's probably the one spot I was really hoping Keon Coleman wouldn't go to.
I don't know. I like it. I think he'll surprise you.
Yeah, I still love Keon Coleman as a player. It's to me, it's the fit.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it's that situation that he's in. So we'll
Well,
see
I'll
that.
tell you.
We'll
Yeah.
see who, you
Do you,
know.
do you want to give yours, Josh, and then I can tell you about
Yeah,
a
go
better
ahead.
fit?
I
Oh,
think we might have the same person here. I got Lad McConkey as my first one.
I do like that fit, but I like one who's picked later a little bit better. But tell me about Mr. Ladd McConkey.
So love the Lad McConkey pick. I also think it's even better that that was the Chargers' second round pick to then also take Joel Alt in the first round. So I'm going to pair the two because I think if they went, I think as far as receivers, they could have taken Neighbors. I think Neighbors under a Greg Roman scheme would have worked really well. However, I also do think they're really trying to change the whole dynamic of the Chargers and go, we're just going to run the ball. And we have Justin Herbert who's going to be able to help us in the passing game. And I think Lad McConkey, while he does a lot of things really good, I don't think there's necessarily one elite trait that he has to his calling card, but he's a definite like do it all kind of receiver, and that's perfect for a Greg Roman style offense, to where they do ask a lot of the receivers to make stuff happen on their own. They're not necessarily schemed up for it, and that's where I think McConkey was actually the right pick for that.
Yeah. The well, I'll snake it a little bit. The fit I really liked was pick 14 here in the second, Jonathan Brooks
I
out of
have
that's a
Jonathan
nice
Brooks
second
as
one.
well.
All
So
three of
I
us do.
really
All
like that
three,
fit
yeah.
to Carolina.
Yeah, go run the ball and also
Yeah.
really screw the Dallas Cowboys in the process.
Dude, no one likes or cares about the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll just get that out of the way.
Yeah, breaking news: Ethan declares war on the Cowboys, but I also would like to join in that war. But
But I also declared war on Aaron Rodgers, so
that's
it's
also
not a
true.
personal vendetta against the Cowgirls.
So, but yeah, I mean, let's talk
Right.
about Brooks. I mean, he's the running back
Fast
one,
and
right?
shifty, dude, and that offense
Yeah,
He's
needs
got to be
juice.
RB1. He's got to be
yeah,
RB1.
It's gonna happen soon.
There's not anybody on
yeah.
that roster that can touch him. Like
He's
for
the
real.
only running back to go in round one in rookie drafts, right? He's the
Yeah,
only one.
I believe so. I believe
Yeah,
he's the one. And that's it.
I
The
agree with that.
chosen.
Alrighty, so I mean, that's literally all. All right, boom, Jonathan Brooks, we got
Well,
that
I
done.
mean, well, no. I did want to say something. He is coming off a torn ACL that he got
Yeah,
like
in
back in
November.
November.
Yeah,
So they said he's going to be ready for training camp. They're probably going to take it easy on him at the beginning of the season.
Have they
So
announced
through
schedules yet?
uh I don't I don't
Hold
know.
on, I'm gonna look up see if the
So
Panthers.
so they're probably going to take it easy on him early on in the season, but I do think he gets healthy enough to take over that RB1 job for
Yeah,
yeah.
Carolina very
I mean,
soon, very
I
early.
would personally say just check whenever that bye week is, because once the
Yeah.
bye week hits, that's when he'll be the starter.
Probably. That
I'd say
wouldn't
sooner
surprise
than
me.
that. I'd say
All
sooner
right,
than that. I'd say like the Brees Hall return of last year, where he came back in week 3 or week 4
I mean,
and
he
he
had
just
week
took off.
one, yeah, but the handcuffs
Oh,
were
I
off
know.
by
I know.
week
Josh
three.
is very familiar with Brees Hall. You wanna talk about it?
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. 40 points in the chip. All right. Anyways,
Yeah,
um,
and
so
freaking
let's
Brees
talk
Hall.
about my third pick
Whew.
from the second round.
Oh my
Big
God.
Ben Sinat fan, the tight end from Kansas State.
I'm real.
That
I
dude
am.
just knows how to get open.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all I have to say about him, other than being reliable. He just gets open, and it's very dangerous if you had. Golly, what was Washington's tight end before last year?
Logan Thomas.
Logan Thomas. If you had Logan Thomas, sorry, Ashley, it sucks to be you because it's about to be Ben.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely the starter. It's
Yeah, but I mean, he also has to overcome Ertz. I mean, Ertz is, he's 33, so
Bro,
he's
Ertz is
he's
a
getting up
bum.
they
there.
signed.
He's getting up there.
Does Ertz
But
even
Wait
still
for
have
real? They signed
knees?
Ertz.
yeah, they
How
yeah,
did I
they picked him
forget
up
that?
as a free
I'm
agent.
pretty sure that Ertz does not have knees, so I wouldn't be concerned about him.
He's the
So
he's the knight in Monty
yeah,
Python Holy Grail.
Yep. Basically, that's what
Tis
I'm saying.
tis but a flesh wound.
Yeah, just
No,
come back here.
but I think Bensonot really does well. I think
I
he's in a
mean,
good situation there.
yeah, I mean,
And it's
Ben,
just one more weapon for Jaden Daniels there. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I personally was not high on him, but I mean, the fit definitely piques my interest there.
I mean, I
Uh,
like him as a player. It's not even the fit for me. I really like Ben Sinnott as a player. I think he
I'm
was
gonna have to
wasted
look.
at K State a little bit, but I think he's going to be good in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look
yeah,
back. I'm gonna have to watch him again. My last second round pick is Jalen Polk to the New England Patriots with the 37th overall pick. I think this is a perfect weapon for Drake May, and they just needed to get whoever they were going to draft a quarterback, they needed to get him help. And I
yeah,
think Jalen Polk is really good. He would have been a lot higher if he wasn't playing right next to Roma Dunze. But he does a lot of things really well, has the speed, probably the best route runner, I would say, out of the three Washington receivers. And I just think it's a really good fit overall. I will say for New England Patriots, this is my gut feeling. This may change. I wouldn't be concerned with a New England Patriot player until next year. I just think that team is just 1 year away from having real impact fantasy producers.
mhm.
Yeah.
If they get the right people in.
Yeah.
So
All
that
right, round
will
three.
just take time.
Round
No, no,
three,
no. I got one
everybody.
more. I
Oh, you
got
got
one
one more?
more.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did we mention? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, Ryan.
yeah. So I've got Jackson Powers Johnson,
Oh,
center out of
right.
Oregon,
Yes.
to Las Vegas. To
The,
me,
what the Raiders
Las
are both?
Vegas, yeah, Las Vegas already had a top 10 O line last year. So this pick on the surface, it doesn't really make sense for them to draft him this high.
Well,
But
shout out
I
to
really do think, I
my
really
boys.
do think they're starting a bit of a rebuild. And I think they're building from the bottom up. They're making sure that their O line is solid before they bring in anybody. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But
My thoughts
I
are
I think he's going to be I think he's going to have to compete for a guard position rather than his normal center position because they just signed uh, their veteran center on a 3-year contract. So I'm
Oh, they did.
thinking that they're not going to make him be a center there. I think they're going to move him to guard. But this to me just confirms that they're going into a rebuild. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's a
not
good
only
pick for that.
I mean, Ethan, you brought up Zamir White, but this also helps out Devontae. This is going to help out Jacoby Myers. Also going to help out Brock Bowers, who
Yeah.
was so close. He was so close for me as far as in my first round picks. Um, so that is round
sorry,
two,
forgive
and
me, Ryan.
let's talk about round three here. Ryan, let's start with you. First pick of round three that you really enjoyed.
Sorry, I had to cough there for a second. My first pick is Trey Benson
Yep.
out of
Same here.
FSU,
Yep.
Arizona. I think he's a very physical runner, very capable receiver out of the backfield. There's a very good potential he could overtake Connor this year or next. So
Well,
we
for
shall
sure
see.
next, because the thing I had to check, James Conner is he's only guaranteed this year.
Yeah.
So next
So
year we
yeah.
could be looking at Trey Benson era.
I think Trey Benson would be a very good potential high second round pick in dynasty leagues. If you're looking for somebody that doesn't really make an impact now, but may make a big impact later, I
If
think
you're
he'd be a good
Ryan
addition.
and you're desperate for a running back, you should draft Trey Benson.
Don't worry, he has Brees
Maybe.
Hall.
Yeah, I have Brees Hall. And a stable of mediocre running backs that I can rotate in.
I
It's
have
okay.
Brees Hall and nothing else. Let's hope it works.
I have the three best wide receivers in the game. So I'm good.
All right.
All
You
right.
heard it
Yeah. Let me die inside. Let's
Me-
start with yeah, Ethan. Let's go with you. Who's your third round pick?
Oh man, CMC and Lamar Jackson were great all year, and then I lost. All right, sorry. My first is
Hate to
Don't
see it.
don't rub it in.
well now
Hate to see
Josh,
it. The
just
come
know that this is
the
not coming
comeback
from
story.
me.
The comeback story
All
is
right.
going to be legendary, and I will be back here with a
I just love it.
vengeance.
I just love it that somebody that wasn't even in the championship is rubbing it in your face that
Yep,
you lost the
Yeah,
championship.
yep.
yeah, but at least on the bright side, we can all say we've been to a championship
Yeah.
match
We
in this
Yep.
league.
yeah,
But only one of us can say he won
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
cool. No one cares. Let's just keep going.
it.
no one cares.
Okay.
All
Uh,
right. All right.
These-
What's
All
your
right.
first one around three?
so are we
First pick.
are we worried about Kyron? Are we worried about Kyron? Blake Corum to the Rams?
No.
So I'm not worried. And let me tell you, I have tried every single way to get Kyron from Paul, and I have not been successful. But no, it's just a complete identity shift. So this is kind of the interesting thing. They signed Kevin Dotson back, re-signed him, sorry, and then they signed Jonah Jackson. So the Rams have completely like invested into the interior O line. And it really does feel like they're going to actually run a lot more like man gap schemes as far as running the ball and actually move away from the Shanahan wide zone. It's the first of these Shanahan disciples to actually make this kind of move. So I'm really intrigued to see how this ends up. Now, as
Yeah.
far as I think the Blake Corum pick is good. I think he's a great handcuff for Kyron. So if like Paul
Yes.
should be drafting Blake Corum
Oh my gosh.
because
Sorry, I'll mention this, and I just had a intrusive thought about something that's coming up next. I'm so sorry, Josh.
okay, you're good, you're good. So I do think Blake Corum is going to be like relevant, but only if Kyron misses 4 games again, like he did last year. Otherwise, I think Kyron's still the number one guy.
I
Yes.
think he's still the number one guy, but I think Blake Corum, because when you run a guy as hard as they ran Kyron this year, you're obviously going to have injuries because they ran him to death last year. They
Yeah, they
need
really
to
did.
they need to let off the gas a little bit on him, and I think rotating in Blake Corum, I think they're going to get that and still get the consistent quality run game. So and be able to get Blake Corum the game reps that he needs to adjust into the NFL. So I think he isn't going to usurp Kyron. I do think he's going to get into the rotation, but I think
Yeah.
he will be a clear backup.
Who was the Rams like main other running back last year? Like
I
we're
don't
Was
think
it
we
talking
saw one.
Ronnie Rivers, was that him?
in
Yeah,
Jake, right? Ronnie Rivers and
I
Jake.
don't, yeah, we didn't really
Yeah.
see any of them.
So
Because
that I think
remember,
that's the it.
Kyron was running like 25, 27 times a game. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was out on the field for everything.
Yeah. This his snap percentage was wild, which
Oh
I
yeah.
will actually look. I'll look that back up.
While you're doing it,
Oh,
can I do
cool.
my third that leads into my
Yes.
intrusive thought?
Yes.
So the last person I had, because my first was of course Trey Benson. But Roman Wilson, the pick right after Blake Corum at 20 or the 84th overall.
It's a good pick.
So this was my intrusive thought. Deion Johnson also went to Carolina. The Steelers traded him to
Yes.
Carolina. So that's another thing about Leggett that could be interesting with having Deontay Johnson, great route runner, and Thielen, great route runner. But on Roman Wilson, it's now opened up a spot between him and Pickens to fight for, and he's another solid route runner guy, and stronger than I think people realize. that could be interesting on that Steelers team. Now they still got to figure out who's going to play quarterback, but I don't think it's really going to matter because Roman, to me, it was just a solid pick.
Yeah.
I really do like that pick. I think he definitely is replacing the Deontay Johnson role. But yeah, I think they've basically are confident in Pickens being the one. So like Pickens actually, I mean, he's looking like a really good target to look into, especially I mean, because Russ can't be worse than Kenny Pickett, and neither can Justin Fields, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
for
okay,
sure.
I you, I
No,
am
no,
being
no. Pickett,
optimistic.
with how Pickett played last year, yeah, I don't think it could get worse.
Yeah. So I mean, we kind of talked about two of y'all's. I'm gonna give I'm gonna give my last two. We already talked about Trey Benson. I got Jermaine Burton drafted by the Bengals with the 80th pick, and Jalen McMillan drafted by the Bucks with the 92nd pick. Reason why I find these two interesting, these are two future replacements. Jalen McMillan
Yep.
is going to be Chris Godwin within a couple of years. So I think that's just already in play. And then Jermaine Burton can be the Tyler Boyd role right now, but when you have to pay Jamar Chase and you have to get rid of T. Higgins, Jermaine Burton can fill that role too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I do find those two to be a like I think they're probably going to be third round grade on them when it comes to rookie drafts, largely because there's 300 million and one receivers that you could draft this year with legitimate impact. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think those two are going to be some very sneaky ones to look at if you're looking for a long-term play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
agree.
right. Rounds 4 through 7. And I apologize in advance. I have 5 people on this list because I could not pick.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Well, you
try
can
to whittle
only
that
talk
down.
about 3 of them.
All right,
So
I'll only talk about 3.
and we have an honorable mention at the end.
Yes.
yeah,
I
we're
have
gonna
to.
talk
Yeah.
about our very special honorable mention to end the
Yeah.
podcast. But 4 through 7, who's your first draft?
All right. Let's start off with this. Javon Baker, the wide receiver drafted in the 4th round to New England, who I think is
Patriots
he
get
was
another receiver.
yeah. Look, that is a deep threat. Let's go use Drake May's uh basically his arm strength. Javon Baker also has the greatest quote for any draft press conference I have heard in a very long time, aka "Bring your popcorn and make people in wheelchairs stand up." Is what a
We
quote.
love it.
But
We love it.
but now as far as the player is concerned, he actually transferred to UCF from Bama, and kind of shocked about that. But that man was a speed threat, speed threat, speed threat, which pairs really well with Jalen Polk as well. But I
Yeah.
do think he's going to be a very excellent wide receiver too.
All right.
All right, let's
So
yeah,
my first one, I wanted to point out Troy Franklin, wide receiver out of
let's
Oregon.
let's keep the speed going.
Top 30 talent. Top 30 talent that dropped down to 103. I'm very surprised that he dropped all the way down. I don't know, it could have been off-field issues. I did a little research into it, could not figure out why he dropped so low. But
I
yeah, it must have been something that the franchises didn't like.
the last thing I heard was it wasn't off field, nothing like that. It was
Really
basically play style. A lot of people just had very
interesting.
differing opinions.
Well, I mean, it fills a hole for Denver. You know, he may not make it very far, but you know, as a 4th round prospect, you know, he's still going to get that chance to play and get a chance to be on the roster. So, you know, he's got a good frame. I mean, if he gains a couple of pounds, I know he's very thin for a wide receiver, but you know, he needs to gain a couple pounds to be, you know, physically effective in the NFL. But other than that, he's got the talent. He just needs that opportunity.
Yeah.
So Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they picked up a
I think
decent
it was a
player
fantastic
at 103.
fourth round pick.
So
Yeah,
my first guy is the one, the only Jordan Travis in the fifth round. Uh, Aaron Rodgers beyond notice, but in the
Oh my God.
meantime, Jordan Travis
Says a
hurt
recovery.
himself. It's going to be a little bit of a recovery time for him, but I'm a big
Yeah.
Jordan Travis fan. I like
I'll
what he
be
did at FSU.
I'll be honest, he might actually be the reason why the hip drop tackle is banned. Because that
really.
yeah,
No,
because
that would be Nick Chubb, but go ahead and keep talking.
well, I mean, well, Nick Chubb wasn't a it was just like it was a helmet to it. Like Jordan Travis, they played Albany in week 13. They're 2 weeks away from essentially being a shoe-in for the college football playoff. And all I think it's Albany. I might be wrong, but player just literally hip drops on his leg and boom, compound fracture. Like right then and there, and it killed Florida State's chances at a college football playoff run. So I mean,
Yeah,
personally, I think he's going to be the reason for that. I'm not very high on Jordan Travis, but also it just may also be because I'm not very high on Mike Norvell as far when it comes to like translating college scheme to pro scheme.
Yeah,
But
you're
you
also a
know what?
narcissist, but that's okay. Or a
I am.
sadist, even. Both of those.
What do those words even mean? But
They describe you. That's what they mean.
I don't know about that, man. But
No,
but
definitely a sadist. Maybe not a narcissist in this context, but a sadist. Go ahead.
sir, there are too many words that are ending in ist there. but but overall, I do think Jordan Travis is going to be a solid pickup. Also, they're definitely going to learn under Aaron Rodgers, so
Oh yeah.
for sure. Um, let's see. I mean, I can go straight back to quarterback here. I do have Spencer Rattler on my list.
Yep. I was waiting for you.
yeah.
And I mean, going to New Orleans, I mean, look, it's a great flyer. I know PFF was talking about this, so I'm kind of intrigued. But they're basically saying if you're not going to see a lot of second, third round quarterbacks anymore, you're either the guy and you're going to get drafted in the first round, or you're going to be someone's going to take a flyer on you on day three. So I think that's what happened to Spencer Rattler. I do think he was a
Yeah,
second round quarterback in my eyes,
I agree.
but it's a great move by New Orleans because you're tied to Derek Carr for a while. He's Spencer Rattler's young. He'll be able to actually like learn from him, and then you have someone in place. I still think Spencer Rattler could be a guy.
No, I
I
agree.
don't
I
know if
really
he,
like
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler too.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if he's the guy, but I am very intrigued. And you have Raheem Shaheed and Olave, Kamara, like you have pieces there on top of some O line investments in the draft as well, like Fuanga. So overall, he could be a very sneaky ad. Definitely a fourth, fifth round flyer rookie draft for me.
All right, Ryan, what you got?
All right. So my next guy, I have Walter Rouse, sixth round pick for Minnesota. This is my only Viking. This is the one Viking.
Homer.
This is the one
Homer.
Viking. Yeah.
I
This is
can
the one
say that,
Viking
Homer.
that
Ethan.
I got to choose. So I think he's just going to solidify the interior O line for the Vikings. Um, they've been kind of an issue for the last 2 years, and now that we have two bookends at tackles, we need to solidify that interior O line. And I think Walter Rouse was a good addition to that. I think he's going to make the Vikings a lot better with our O line. So yeah, so I think he was a great pick.
I'm gonna talk about him briefly. He's not gonna be my pick. I should have paired him up with Trey Benson. I apologize, but Arizona did take Christian Jones, the offensive tackle from Texas, and I believe it was round four. I find that perfect pairing with him and Paris Johnson. I do think there is a
Mm.
commitment to Arizona building a more balanced offense. So I do think Christian Jones really fits that in that scenario, and you get a literal giant to help uh, protect Kyler. But the person I do want to talk about, I'm going to stick to running back. Isaac Guerrero. He's from Louisville, drafted to the 49ers. This guy's replacing Elijah Mitchell at the very least.
All right.
Yeah, he literally a 220-pound back with 4.3 speed and ran a lot of outside zone at Louisville. Yeah, sign me up. I will be taking a late flyer on him if I can.
Well, speaking of late flyers, give me Joe Milton.
Yeah,
Big Joe Milton
Joe
fan.
Millen, go
I
Joe
don't want
Millen.
the tight end conversion. I don't like that he went to the
No,
Patriots, but I
no,
love Joe Milton.
keep him at quarterback, please,
Yes.
please. Okay, so I'll explain this. So I am. It's been a while since I played football, but I will say, my last year of high school football, I actually Joe Milton and I were division. We're in not division. We're in the same district. So I did play against Joe Milton for 1 year, and even then, you knew he had tools because he just like chucked this like 50-yard bomb out of nowhere. And you're just like, oh crap, what happened there? I personally think, and this is my opinion, I'm gonna stick to it. Going to Michigan was way too big of a learning curve for him, which is why I think Tennessee kind of helped him out quite a bit. But by then, he needs to sit legitimately 4 or 5 years. But if he can sit for 4 or 5 years, learn the game, his traits are so undeniable that he could be a franchise guy later on, a la like a Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's my trajectory for him, and I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I really hope he does succeed.
So
Go
Hawks done.
Orlando players.
All right. Ryan, we each have one, and then we're gonna end the episode on a special note. I'll
Yeah.
let you go first before I give my seventh round pick, but go ahead, Ryan.
Mine is round 7, Brendan Rice from
Oh, that's mine.
USC.
Okay. All right. I'm
Yeah,
glad we're
Oh,
ending on the same note.
he's a legacy, and I think with good
He should have
coaching,
gone
he could
way
develop.
higher. The seventh round pick
Yeah,
is disrespectful.
yeah. So why
yeah.
do y'all
With
think he went 7th round? I guess that's my question. Because
Dude,
I
I
thought he
think
was
I don't
people, I
know.
think it's a play style thing. I don't think people
Is it?
like his play style, and I don't think they liked some of what they saw on film. But I don't know, man.
I mean, I love the fit. Like to me, like it fits really well. And I mean, the last
Yeah,
person I would have brought up was Cornelius Johnson, but like it's kind of in the
So
same
I
vein
love the
there.
fit, and they talk about he needs some more development. I mean, everyone needs a little bit more development. I
Yeah.
thought the film on
yeah.
him was good, but I don't know. I don't work in the NFL, and people get paid a lot of money to screw up the picks, and they let him go
Yeah.
to the seventh round. So whatever.
Yeah. But all right, so I guess here's my question. So, what's your expectations rookie year for Brendan Rice?
Ooh, I don't know. It
Not
depends on
high.
how camp is going, but he could be wide receiver one.
Really, overlap, do you think?
He could be, yeah.
All right, all right. I hear you. Ryan, how do you feel about Brendan
I don't know if he
Rice?
could do a wide receiver one. I mean, it's a potential, but I don't know if he could do wide receiver one.
I see it. So, who wants to start on our honorary 7th round pick?
I want to talk about it because this is somebody that I worked with. This is somebody that I got to be around. He worked on endurance with me. So this person is very special to me, and I had nothing but good things to say to him after the draft. But in the seventh round, a good friend of all of ours. I don't know if you knew him, Ryan, but at least
I didn't know
me
him
and
very
Zach.
well.
A good friend of ours got drafted to the Minnesota Vikings, Drake Rodriguez. The dude is just a stand-up human being, like class act,
Genuine to the core.
genuine to
Yeah,
the core guy, and just good at football. Like I wish he had gotten over to a better program earlier
Would
because
agree.
he's just so naturally gifted, and so he's going to have a big leap in competition in terms of going to the NFL. But Drake is a very fast, violent D lineman,
Yeah.
and I'm just wishing him nothing but the best. And it was cool getting to message him and talk a little bit and see some of the stuff he's posted since the draft on, what's going on with him. But I'm just super happy for him, super proud of Drake, and that he was able to make it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll start off for this. I mean, I didn't have as long with him because it was literally my last year when he got in. But man, dude was so like genuine, and like he didn't have to learn from me. Like he literally like I may have been like third string at the time, and he started off like freshman year as behind me, and then within like 3 practices, you're like, yeah, this dude's way better than me, so get him up there. But like even then, like there would be a couple times where like I was like, oh hey, as a D lineman, you might want to check this out, and like dude always listened.
Oh
They
yeah.
always took in coaching. I am so thrilled for Drake. I think he also went to a great landing spot with Minnesota and B-Flow. I mean, he balled his butt off at Commerce, and I really hope I think he'll make it. And if it's not in Minnesota, I know someone else is dying to get their hands on Drake
Yeah.
to be able to see what he can do, man. But I'm so freaking like proud of him though.
Yeah. And as a Vikings fan, I love it that somebody that, went to the same college I did got to become a
Somebody that
Viking. I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
look,
somebody
so
from a small college like we all went to got to go up into the NFL, into the big leagues. So
yeah, small world
it's
after
it's
all
awesome.
three of us are
It
getting
is.
jerseys. That's for
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, all three of us are getting jerseys. All three of us are
Yep.
Yeah,
honorary Vikings fans.
Be
Ryan's
yeah,
left us
prepared
to
for a
begin with.
lifetime of disappointment, fellas.
yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like, okay, sorry, I'm not gonna say just like Ryan's wife, but oh wait, we did.
Oh,
So, anyways,
gee.
that's an
My
episode.
God.
I hope you all enjoyed the
Jeez.
draft as much
Jesus.
as we did. Um, Josh, we have social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah. So you can find all of us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Last Place FP. We're definitely going to be starting to kind of ramp things up on the social side of things because guess what? The draft is over, which means the 2024
Season
NFL
is coming.
season, it's right around the
Yep.
corner. OTAs are starting up mid-May, and then basically the season starts. So here's what you'll be expecting from us, at least to give a little bit of housekeeping. Rookie month, this is the initial episode for rookie month, is our draft reaction. And then next, we're going to be getting on calls, figuring out our tier list for the 2024 NFL rookie draft class. So you'll be able to find weekly episodes. We're going to go in depth on quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and then definitely our big board is probably going to be one of the first things we put out. So make sure to check us on all of our socials again at Last Place FP, and then don't forget to hit like and subscribe on our channel just so you'll be up to date with everything going on as far as Dynasty Fantasy Football. Now, Ethan, what can you never forget?
Never forget. Sometimes you are right. Sometimes you're Ryan. We'll see you
And
next time.
sometimes you're the champion.
Uh, has been, but have a
That
good one,
season's over.
everybody. Yeah,
Hey, I'm
season's
still the
over.
champion.
And the words of Bill Belichick, we're on to next week. Have a good one, everybody, and we will see y'all for rookie month.